with the lovely Dawn Elle. I have known her for, gosh, I think a year now. I've been so blessed to have her in my life, and I really couldn't wait to share her with you. Dawn is an intuitive healer and coach, and I cannot wait to dig really deep into exactly what it is that she does so that you guys can understand exactly what an intuitive healer does. So this is really close to my heart. I've worked with her personally, and so welcome, Dawn, to my Inspired TV show.
Hi, I'm
Nice to
excited to
have
be
you.
here.
Awesome. We are so excited today. Just going to just jump right in if that's good. So first and foremost, let's just go right into kind of a little bit about you, what your story is, and go into exactly what you do. Explain it, because a lot of people think all this stuff is just kind of woo-woo, and they don't understand it, and they could be getting so much help from you is the part I want to really emphasize today. So go into explaining exactly what it is you do, Dawn.
So when I work with clients, I am lucky enough to get to tap into their energy field. And when I do that, I do two things actually in my sessions. I channel information and I channel from the divine, and then I also heal throughout the entire session. So I always tease that our bodies are like cars that need tune-up sometimes. And so I go in there and I can see where there's stuck energy. And it's usually associated with the chakras is what I kind of focus on. And so I get messages about where people are with the soul lessons that they're experiencing in their life at that time. And so I help clear and deliver information that are going to empower my clients to move forward with whatever it is that they're working on. A lot of times it's relationships or it's family stuff or career, but just getting really clear and having clarity so that they can see whatever it is that they need to see and work on and help them through that. So it's such a blessing and it's so fun to do that.
That's awesome. How did you start in that type of field? I mean, I'm always intrigued because I didn't just wake up knowing I hear voices and to act on them, basically. So tell me, how did you even discover this gift, or how did you evolve into this healer?
Well, what's so ironic is that I went to Catholic school my entire upbringing. I went to private Catholic school, and it was not something that's looked upon very highly probably at the Catholic school, but I loved the spirituality that I was taught at school, and I always had this deeper awareness that there was something, with people's energy and some connection to it. And so I always just kind of paid attention to it as I was growing up. And by the time I was in high school, I just couldn't get my hands on enough books that had to do with metaphysical stuff. And there was this one bookstore in town in Sacramento where I grew up, where it was a metaphysical bookstore, and I made my mom take me. I was just always completely drawn to this world. And I got my first reading. I had a psychic reading when I was really young. And so it was just it was like a magnet that was always calling me in kind of to this energy. And then as well, the lucky part about going to Catholic school is I got to, a class, my favorite class was on world religions, and just learning about the deeper meaning of spirituality and the connection to the divine. It just really opened up for things for me. And I was also meditating at that age too. So all of that kind of got me on this path, but I actually didn't really do anything with it until I was out of college. I was a little disconnected from the energy once I went into college. I was in it up until, through high school, and then I kind of, got away from it, and then I went back into it in my 20s.
I think it's fate. It's just where you belong.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why you were drawn to it. I understand completely. And being a a pastor's kid and a Baptist upbringing, I was fascinated too. And it was that old belief like, no, this is bad. You shouldn't explore that. All these old misconceptions. And regardless of that, and moving away from my family 6 years ago, I kind of explored on my own and realized I was suppressing gifts as well. So kudos to you for exploring it and keeping going, obviously going with it. So kind of share how you decided to turn this gift into actually a business.
Well, what happened was I actually have been doing this on the side for about 7 years. And then about a year ago, I decided to go full-time with this and just pursue it. And it was an undeniable feeling that I had to do this in my heart. I knew this is my purpose. This is what I need to be working on. But the journey to get there was difficult because I had to come out of the spiritual closet. I was afraid to let people know I was in the corporate world. And so in corporate, America, to be, intuitive and woo-woo and all that kind of stuff, is not always highly looked upon. But I used my intuition in corporate America when I had a sales background, and I was in pharmaceutical sales actually, and I had a great career in it. But that was actually when I discovered that I wanted to do more, that I needed, that there was it was almost like this missing aspect of me, and it was this thing that I knew I had to kind of transition over and figure out what that was. And it was calling to me through classes actually in the beginning. About 10 years ago, I started taking classes and developing my intuition and learning how to meditate even on a deeper level and just look at a lot of different things. So that's what kind of started opening things up for me. But when I was in corporate America, I was very stressed out, and I went to the doctor actually, and I had a lot of anxiety. I had all this energy kind of, coursing through me, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I had gotten so disconnected from who I was at that point. I was living this life where I was happy, but and I was doing well, but there was just this huge missing component, and I just was getting sick. I was actually getting sick. I had really bad stomach aches and migraines all the time, and I went to the doctor, and I'll never forget, because since I was a pharmaceutical rep, it was pretty natural to think, hey, I should get a medication to help me with my anxiety. And I went to her and I talked to her about it, and she's the best doctor in the world. And she said to me, she goes, until you start exploring some alternative ways to deal with your stress, I will not put you on anything. You're too young. And I was about 30 at the time. And she said, why don't you try acupuncture, chiropractic, meditation, exercise? She gave me this whole list of things to do. And so, being the type A person I am, I went after it and I did it. And my first appointment with my acupuncturist was what kind of opened me up to energy work and learning that there is so much more to what's going on with our physical bodies than just what we can see. And she knew just by doing a body scan on me that I was having major issues with my career and my calling and all this kind of stuff, and that I was blocked. And so that was my first experience with energy work, because I could literally feel her, when she put the needles in, I could feel something. I felt like a zing. I felt energy. And then after that, I was like, what is this? And that's kind of what helped me, as well as those classes, get on this path, because I realized there's so much more to being healthy and being our best selves, and we can't deny who we are. And there's all these tools out there. And so that's what started me on this path of getting into this work. And then over the years, I think once you follow your passion and what you're aligned to energetically, then the world opens up. And then all of a sudden, that's how I got into this. And I've always followed my heart with it. It's crazy, because when I first started this and started taking classes, I never knew it was going to morph into this. But I think when you connect to the divine or the universal energy that's around us and open up to it, it leads you to where you need to be if you trust it. So that's how. Yeah.
I love that story, because so many people can relate. Many of us, we can't figure out, why am I not happy? What's going on? What's not working? Some of us do unfortunately get sick, or they have ailments and physical things. I look at it as resistance to what your true calling is. That's just an outside form of that, and pulling you backward or trying to shift you in a different path. And sometimes we fight it, thinking, oh no, I need to swim faster upstream. And it's really, you just need to be in the flow of what you're supposed to be here to do. That divine purpose, like you mentioned. That is awesome. So what is it that just, now that you've let go of the corporate job, and you're a mother as well and a wife, and you've got a lot on your plate, but you chose to do your business. So what is it that just is so much fun about this type of work? What do you love the most about it?
I would say the expansiveness of it. I think when you open up your heart to what it is that you're supposed to be doing or what you feel called to do, waking up every day is a joy. I mean, there's nothing better than getting to do what you love, because then it doesn't even feel like work. I get up and I go, oh my God, I get to work with this client and that client and help them transform or open up something for themselves in their life. And I think that's the most joyful aspect of it, and really getting to balance everything. I think in life, balance can be kind of a joke sometimes, because I think we all kind of strive for it, and some days we're going to have it and some days we're not. But I think what's so great about doing this work is staying connected to myself, staying connected to the energy, like the universal energy, and then getting to, you know, wake up and decide what is it that I'm going to focus on in my life right now, and getting to direct that. Because I think sometimes when we're, and there's nothing wrong with corporate America, I love it, but for me, I like to be able to determine my own schedule and have some morning time to have a ritual of meditation and some prayer and some writing, and then dive into myself and have time with my daughter and my family. So for me, it's about designing my life and creating it the way that I want. And so it's been fantastic. And really, just getting to work with my clients lights me up.
I can agree more. I'm on that path with you, girl. I understand completely. I personally have had sessions with Dawn, and I remember my first session with you was just, I've worked with other energy workers before, and Dawn just got a very unique way of just putting you at ease. I remember just sitting on the phone and just closing my eyes and letting it all come in and listening, and I was trying to take notes too, of course. I wanted to hear everything she was saying and picking up on, and I honestly was blown away at how accurate she was on the things that I was going through in my life, what areas we're still stuck in. And honestly, you know, my life started to propel faster forward into the direction I wanted to go to, just because, you know, in one session alone, it did that. Of course, I've had some since, obviously. It's like a tune-up, like you mentioned. But, you know, more importantly, you know, it's just opening your mind that this exists, and this kind of opportunity to work with someone like Dawn can change your life. It really, really, truly can. So tell me a little bit about what some misperceptions, that people have about your line of work and what they think it is, and now I kind of got an idea of what it looks like, but share what you've heard so far.
You know, it's funny because I don't think, until somebody experiences it, I think it's kind of scary for people if they're not, you know, used to the energy or open to it. It's just foreign. They don't, you know, get it, and I completely understand that. So I try and work with people where they're at. Some people are uber spiritual and can, you know, okay with talking about the divine or universal energy, and some people are not. And so for me, when it comes to, I joke around and I call it like there's skeptical energy. It's like skeptics. And I think that they are, you know, waiting to see where I'm getting my information from, or if I'm just making things up, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so I think the misconception is not to take me seriously, you know, that it's not really going to help. But what I've learned is, you know, obviously as a practitioner and helping people and being a healer and a coach, is that, you know, you attract the person that's at least open to it. So I've attracted people that are open to it. And I have most of my clientele are mainstream people that have always been in corporate America. I think they can relate to me because of the fact that I've been there myself. And I've just opened up another aspect of myself, and everybody's intuitive. Everybody is. And so I think by just, like you said, when I do my sessions, I really allow people to feel comfortable and get out of that skeptical, you know, energy, I guess, and be more open. And then I think a lot of times what happens, and I had this happen recently, is I had a woman who came to me, and she'd never had this work before, and she wasn't even sure. She's like, you know, my friend suggested it. I don't know if I should go, but I need some help. So she told me I had to see you. So she came to see me, and she was dead silent for the entire hour that I spoke, you know, that I was channeling and working on her energy. And usually people are a little bit more interactive, but it's their choice. And at the end of it, she didn't say anything to me. She just was silent.
You're like, are you there?
Yeah, I'm like,
hello.
Yeah. And I thought, okay, what happened there is, so she booked another appointment with me. So when she came back, she said to me, she goes, Dawn, I was so skeptical, and I wanted to think that you're a complete fraud, or this doesn't work, or there's no way this could be real. She goes, but there is no way that you could have known that stuff about me and been so accurate and so kind about sharing the information with me. So I think that there's a place for that energy, and I work with it all the time in the sense that I know people could be scared or think it's different. But at the end of the day, I think just having a little bit of openness to it and me allowing myself to be comfortable with who I am helps them calm down. So that's the main thing. And I think back in the day, people used to think of like an intuitive or more like the word psychic, which I don't usually use the word psychic actually because I don't really vibe with that energy exactly, but they would see it as like somebody with a crystal ball and like some flowy hippie outfit on or something crazy like that. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. So it's just kind of meeting people where they're at with their expectations and all that stuff.
I love that. So you touched something I want to just go a little deeper on. You said everyone is intuitive. So it's, and I firmly believe it's something, it's like a muscle. You have to exercise it or go deeper with it, and explore it. So how does one kind of explain a little bit about the schooling or whatever you did to go deeper with that so that others that are on this call can understand, hey, maybe I can choose a career in this path too. How did you just uncover that?
So for me, I've always been somebody that loves to go to school and learn more. And sometimes for me, whether it's through reading books or just actually finding a class or a workshop. So that's the avenue that I went down, was finding a school actually in San Diego. Intuitive Insights is where I went. And they had a program where you could take, and it was, I think it was about 18 months. And what it did was help you would go every week, and really it's not so somebody can necessarily become, do readings, but it was more about just learning how to tap into your intuition and how to get clear about the messages you're getting and how to strengthen that muscle, like you said. And I think the more we practice with it and the more that we allow ourselves to listen and be in that space, the stronger it gets. And then it's just like it's a trust thing. It's a lot of self-love and trusting that that voice within. And there's some really clear ways for anybody to tap into their intuition. And obviously one of my biggest ones is meditation. And there's journaling and all that kind of stuff, prayer. So, but that school that I went to just allowed me to get in a space where everybody was, opening up to it and comfortable with it. So it was really fun. It was just, and I always tell people being in a state of amusement or joy when we're working with our intuition really helps, because it's just, it allows us to have fun with it. It's not so serious, because it doesn't have to be. It's just tapping into another aspect of ourselves.
I think you really touched it on the trust factor, because even I've had that where you're like, oh, I don't want to say anything. I'll feel stupid if I'm wrong. Or I'll have a client or a friend that's going through something, and I'll keep hearing, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and it gets louder and louder, and I'm like, do I say it or not? And you hold back thinking, oh, I'm sure I heard that somewhere, and it's probably wrong, and I don't want to look stupid, so you just shut up, and you don't obviously share. So I love that you said, just being open to it and allowing that and trusting and getting where, okay, maybe I'm not crazy is the key thing. I'm not crazy. So, and it helps to have support around you too, to truly understand that, you're not. Everybody's got that beautiful gift, and it's whether or not they choose to use it is entirely of choice, obviously up to them. So let's go a little bit deeper on what you do with the clients, because I really want to get people to get a feel of what you've done. Obviously, Dawn does this virtually, so it doesn't matter where you're at in the world, which is beautiful and easy. So kind of tell us a little bit of what you've done with your clients. I've helped them get unstuck, all of those good things that happen, and what kind of experiences you've seen, kind of, I guess, your own testimonials with your clients. I personally could rave about you for days, but how about you share kind of from your point of view what you do and how you walk people through your process?
Well, it's evolved over the years, and it's been so special to see all the different things that I call them miracles that I have witnessed in my practice and my offerings with people. But the crazy part about this is the information that I receive has nothing to do with me. It's all about my clients, and so it's for their best and highest good. And a lot of people sometimes they haven't heard that for a while, or they've never connected to that energy. And so to get validation from somebody else of what they're working on or what can help them and empower them. So I've seen very dynamic things with people's relationship spaces, especially, and their life purpose. Because I think sometimes people are on the fence, and I've had a lot of clients that, you know, were working on something, you know, they were in a career that they were miserable, and they just needed somebody to almost kind of say, no, that's not exactly making you happy. And there's something else on the side, there's some energy on the side that if you kind of start working towards and you open up to that, before you know it, you'll be doing something else. I've seen people start their own businesses. I've seen people transition into a better job just because the job that they're in wasn't the best energy for them. So that's one aspect. It's just really getting tapped into their purpose and listening to what makes me happy on a daily basis. So that's really, I think, important for people, because we get so much in this routine of like, I got to do this, I got to do that. I have all these expectations of me in my life, and people get out of touch with who they're supposed to be or what they want to be. You know, what's their truth, what's their happiness. So that with life purpose I've seen, and then relationship spaces, oh my gosh, I've seen really amazing things happen, because whether it's just communicating better with your partner or finding the right partner, knowing how to let go of energy that has been playing out in your life over and over again, let's say in your relationship space. You know, people get caught up in these cycles of energy, and they keep choosing the same person, and they have no idea why. So if I can go in and see that they're doing that and bring it to their awareness and say, if you want something different, which most people, you know, do if they're at that point where they're feeling stuck, I say, this is what we need to change, this is what we need to work on. And just that awareness helps them shift. And so I've seen people find their soulmates, and there is no better joy or gift of seeing those kind of things happen. And then lastly, I love working on, I think it's because I'm a mama, but I am so blessed to work a lot with fertility and pregnancy and see people birth these beautiful little spirit, you know, beings into this world. And I feel like sometimes I'm on this like receiving team, kind of helping the moms and even the dads too get ready to receive this gorgeous being. And so that has been huge for me as well. And so I love working with family energy and kids energy is so pure. So I've seen a lot of transformation in families, because I can kind of go in and see what the parents are dealing with as far as the energy of the children, what might be a stuck dynamic, and help them open up that energy and just parent from a very conscious space and an intuitive space. And that's been super fun. So lots of different things. And then lastly, I would say health. Really seeing people that think that they have a health issue that's never going to change, that could be debilitating, and realizing, hey, wait a second, I can work on this, I can change this. And a lot of people don't realize that their health issues have an emotional component to it. And you know, when I say that, I'll give you an example is, you know, somebody could have something that starts out as they're not living according to their truth. Let's say they're in a relationship space that they're not very happy with, and they don't feel like they get to be themselves. And it may just start out as headaches or pain in their body manifesting, and then before you know it, it could turn into something much deeper, and I call that dis-ease. But literally, it can become disease. And really teaching people to hone into that energy and feel like they can have some power over it, to change that what's happening in their physical body. And so I've seen people heal. You know, many of my clients have healed from some serious ailments, pain issues, and disease. And so being on that journey with them and helping them awaken to what their body's trying to tell them. I always say, if you have a pain in your body or a headache, that's a gift from your body to say, hey, something's off, or something's not right, and all we have to do is listen. So I've seen basically transformation, and my whole thing is like witnessing people get more in touch with themselves so that their light within shines bright by just being their best selves. And so uncovering the obstacles or the things that are holding them back from that gorgeous light. So yeah, transformation, beautiful things I've seen in my practice. Miracles.
How exciting. Like, I would be even more, you know, looking forward to each day with a new client. Like, what can I uncover today? I like that you covered everything, because I think some people think, well, healer, I'm okay. And they immediately think, well, I'm not sick. I don't need Dawn. I'm not sick. But it's not just physical healing, it's emotional healing and all the energy around all of those things. And I love that you covered, you do work with relationships, you do work with career, the money, the finances piece, the health, the family unit. I didn't even know until just now about the fertility part. Of course, we didn't talk about that because that's a no for Carrie. Like, no, that definitely didn't come up. And please don't pull the baby card.
Yeah, I don't know if you would have liked that if I would have brought that up.
I would have been like, we're done, hanging up.
Over the years, I don't know if it was becoming a mom. I have a 22-month-old as of a few days from now. And becoming a mom, I think part of that journey where we awaken to what we're supposed to be doing is she was part of my transformation of going full time. It was like this little, when I was carrying her in my womb, it was almost like she was telling me, Mom, like, get that confidence and go do what you love. Like, create this life where you get to hang out with me. And I listened to it. And before I knew it, and it was really interesting, and speaking of intuition, is that I had one of those pregnancies that was very high risk. I mean, the doctors, I was in the hospital, or I was in the doctor's office almost every week or every other week getting tested. And, then my doctors didn't even know what to tell me sometimes because I had all these issues. And intuitively in my physical body and with my daughter, I knew. I'm like, everything's okay. Everything's going to be fine. There's no, I don't know what the big ruckus is about. And I trusted that voice. And so that is something with intuition, is that sometimes there's so much noise on the outside world saying this isn't right or this isn't happening. And our logical mind wants to go, believe that. But our intuition sometimes goes, oh, no. There's a different side to this story. And so I listened to it. And so I believe that my daughter really helped me kind of open up to new things. And then within being a mom, I always had worked with kids' energy before. But all of a sudden, I had a slew of clients come. They're either working on fertility issues or just trying to get pregnant or pregnant. And then just right after, when they're having the baby, and really getting close to that energy of, how do I work with this pregnancy? Because it is like the most amazing time in one of the most amazing times in somebody's life, and connecting to it and not being fearful about it, and almost kind of being in the space to be very open about it. So I think being a mom myself has helped me attract in this energy where I have this gift of working with those little beings. I love it.
Aw, how is it? What do you see when you do a reading with a pregnant woman? Do you pick up anything from the baby, or do you calm the mom's fears? Because we all have that, when we're like, oh, this baby's going to come out looking like an alien. I just know it. And it's like, oh, please tell me he's going to be happy and healthy. And that's really all that us moms really want. But what do you see what's the difference between reading someone that's pregnant versus not pregnant? I'm just curious.
There's a different energy. I think we all have whether we are birthing a new business or something in our lives, we all have that kind of feminine, like maternal energy. I call it fertility energy within us, and it just depends on what we're using it for, right? Mm. Not everybody wants to have a baby, but when I am working specifically with mommies, oh yeah, that baby is talking to me. As a matter of fact, the babies talk to me before they even get in the womb. So if I meet with somebody that wants to have a baby, all I have to do is tell their little spirit baby on the other side, help, mama get in the right space to receive. And so I work with the mom to be open to receiving the energy, and then I work with the baby that wants to come in. These are very, the little babies that are coming into this world are so conscious and so aware, and they want to come and do their thing and spread love and help us. We all know there's a lot of stuff going on our planet, and so they're just here to kind of change things up energetically. And anyways, I can feel the baby's energy, whether it's on the other side or here. And when the mom's pregnant, the baby's energy is very pure. And what's interesting is they're very, this kind of sounds funny to say, but they're old souls, or sometimes they're even older souls than the moms. And so you're, working with this energy, and the baby is already telling me sometimes, like, let's help mom clear this issue before I come in. So sometimes moms are experiencing, even before they get pregnant, a lot of stuff. Like they might feel like there's a lot of chaos energy or there's a delay to me getting pregnant. And I always tell them it's divine timing because you're actually working some things out so that when you're bringing this baby in, you can receive this energy and expand with it and have fun with it. And so the baby's energy is very pure and easy to read. And I do calm moms down a lot that maybe are having, they're scared about their pregnancy, and just helping them make it a really enjoyable experience and like vibing out on that like beautiful mommy energy. So it's so fun. And then when they have the babies, for me to actually get to see the baby that I've been working on, I'm like, oh my God, nice to meet you, like officially outside of the womb. And so,
we go way back. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, and I've seen some miracles because I've seen some things happen where I had one experience one time and where a mom had used fertility treatments for her first child, and she wanted to get pregnant again, and so we were talking about it, and we were kind of setting the intention and kind of working with the energy. And I believe manifesting is very getting in, like seeing what you want and getting in that energy vibration. So I said, let's work on that. And we gave an assignment to her spirit baby that she, wanted to have her, get pregnant soon. She called me a couple months later and she goes, I don't know what you did, Dawn, but I got pregnant naturally without any fertility treatments.
Wow.
So that was a miracle. That doesn't always happen. But it's just amazing when all the energy comes together, what can happen. So I've seen some beautiful things with fertility and pregnancy.
That's beautiful. I swear my daughter was my mom in a past life. She's so intuitive, and some days I think she's the parent, So it's interesting that you said that dynamic. Sometimes the baby's an older soul than the mom. So I'm not at all shocked to hear that. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? I'm the parent here. The stuff that comes out of her mouth just blows my mind some days. So it's all good. But that makes perfect sense. You're really opening up our minds to really what you can do. I love the stories because those little personal experiences of you working with clients helps others see, oh, I could use Dawn for that. And I just want to share, too, before I jumped from corporate to my own business, and I had done it before, but it looked a little different this time around because I was a single mom. It was just me. So it's a lot more fear shows up when you make that jump forward. And you totally calmed me. It was like, you're going to be okay, that feeling. It just helped me speed things up faster. So working with Dawn was like a huge reassurance. And sometimes that's all we need. We know our gut, but sometimes we need to hear it outside of us that everything's going to be okay, and just kind of go deeper with that. So that's another wonderful gift that you've given me, of course, one of many.
What people don't realize sometimes, too, is especially for you, is that we have this whole team on the other side that wants to see us live this most beautiful, abundant life. And so whenever I tap in and channel energy, there is no fear over there. There is no lack of abundance. There is just love and joy and compassion. And I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. I mean, when I go into that space and can see the other side, and we all have these, whether you want to call it an angel or a guide or the divine, we have this beautiful energy that is cheerleading for us to have our best lives. And so it's easy when, especially when I channel, to see people, whatever vision, especially for you, like I can see everything that's coming for you, and your guides, the people that are supporting you on the other side, want you to, get into that energy and have that. So people don't realize there's so much support. There's so much support for our dreams, and this life that we have here doesn't have to be about suffering all the time or challenges. I mean, it's just really the way we frame it and look at it. But there's so much beautiful energy to work with.
I love that because, with my clients, I see what you're going to do too, and it's like, go, just go faster. I can see it. It's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. Don't hold yourself back. And that's what we do. Of course, fear is a big player of that part, It's always going to show up. You just get to decide how much you allow into your life, literally. So go a little bit deeper on how you work with clients, who's the best person that you normally work with, like who's your ideal client, gosh, I really honestly don't think there's anybody that shouldn't work with Dawn. That's for sure. I think it's pretty broad. But, just to kind of get clear, if they should book a session with you, and what does that look like? How do you do that?
So the great thing about technology now, like you were saying earlier, is I can work with anybody, anywhere. And so I have international clients, but the majority of my clients are in the U.S. But I typically work with women, but I do have some really awesome male clients that I work with. And, for me, my ideal client is just somebody who's open. They're open and they're willing to take responsibility for the role that they're playing in their lives. I mean, I think that's just, and even if they're not there yet, I can help them with that. But I think that's the biggest thing, is just knowing that we have choices and we can help. We're not just like a passenger on this ship that's going into some, direction that we have no idea. Like if we were, on a ship, we are actually the captain. We get to navigate the course of where we're going. And of course, there's things that we can't control, but, we can kind of put our energy in certain directions. So to me, being an empowered, open person is my ideal client, somebody that's willing to look at things. And typically the way a session works is I will do an exploratory session with somebody. So there's always the first session where I usually work with somebody for about 90 minutes and I really go deep and see all the soul lessons that are taking place, the main themes that are happening in their lives right now through relationship work, all that kind of stuff, and work with them on that. And then a lot of people after that session will want to continue to do more additional work, because what happens is we open everything up and look at it. But in order to make some changes, that's where the intuitive coaching comes in, that we work through specific issues so they can have the life that they desire, this beautiful life, whatever it is that they dream of. We work on clearing energy and moving forward with those things. So typically a client will see me one time for that big session, and then after that there'll be follow-up sessions. So sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 12. It just depends on how deep the issue is or how much transformation the person wants to see in their life. And just the beautiful thing is when people commit to that and the changes that they do see. It's fun.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I was going to point out this isn't a one-stop shop, okay? I mean, she is, but she's not. But it's not a one-time fix-all, just one session with Dawn and everything is perfect.
I wish.
It is routine maintenance. Yeah,
that would be nice.
If only it were that simple, but it is definitely a routine maintenance kind of thing, and I'm sure you see it too. It's kind of like peeling back an onion and just looking at the layers of what somebody's working on. So what have you noticed with your own clients, for those that you don't speak to or have sessions with very often versus those that you do sessions with on a regular basis? What have you seen different between those two?
That's such a good question, Carrie. Well, I noticed a lot, because I've had such an amazing clientele that's been with me for almost 8 years, and the people that do more frequent sessions or do the intuitive coaching, what happens is they see a lot of change and a lot of things. They keep moving forward. And then some of the people that I see once a year or once every 6 months, a lot of the times, and they are staying in that same space that they're in. If they have that job or that relationship that is not exactly, that they're in love with or working out for them, they tend to stay in that space because sometimes it's hard to make all these changes without a support system. I mean, that's why we all have coaches and spiritual guides and all these different things, healers, because sometimes we need help, just like we need friendships and family relationships, all that stuff is support. So without that, I think it's easy for us to stay the same and not change. And so that's the biggest difference, is the people that I see more often are creating all these beautiful changes in their life.
I agree 100%. That's when you get to see the results faster. I guess it's just how quick do you want to move forward, Do you want to stay on a perch somewhere and just hope for the best, or do you want to really jump forward with Dawn? Because that's literally how it works, It's just the quicker results. There's some wonderful words before we wrap up that I want to get clear for people. We could have like our own little woo-woo dictionary. You know what I mean? Like, what is grounded? Explain that, because I hate to say dumb it down, but I really, really want to make it clean and simple for those that that don't understand what are these girls talking about, you know, and I post stuff like that on Facebook, you know, the energy's high today, this is what's going on, make sure you stay grounded. I'm wondering how many people really even get me. So let's start with that word, and I've got a few more for us too.
I love it. This is okay. So grounded, yeah. People kind of grounded to me back in the day when I was in high school was me never getting to leave my house because my parents were mad at me. No, but grounded is this energy of being in a space where I would say you feel relaxed and aware of what's going on around you. And sometimes, you know, when we're in stressful situations, we lose our grounding because we get disconnected from ourselves. So it's really just a space of being aware and connected and finding the tools to stay relaxed in that space. That's what it means to me.
Right. And it's so true because when we're grounded, I think we can respond to life. When we're not, we just react, which just starts to spin even faster and everything's kind of out of control. So what tools would you suggest for grounding?
Ooh, my favorite is meditation. I mean, I have fought it because I am one of those people where my mind, I have monkey mind, they call it sometimes, where my mind's all over the place swinging from mind to mind. You know, it's like all these thoughts are going on. But meditation is just this space where we can empty out and be clear and allow the voice of the divine or the universe to come through. So that helps us stay, you know, in a space of being relaxed and knowing, you know, hearing our voice. So that's one thing. And then the other I feel is huge is exercise. Really, we have so much energy coursing through our bodies. We're all energetic beings. Everything on this planet is energy, and we absorb a lot of stuff. So in order to stay in a space where we can be grounded, I think doing daily exercise or even just a walk is really important. And my favorite go-to is yoga. I'm a total yoga junkie. I love it. Opens up. It's like healing within an hour. You know, you open all your chakras and you move and you breathe and you do all that stuff. And the other thing is breath work. If you're ever in a space where you just feel like you get off kilter for a moment or you have a big presentation or whatever is going on, I think it's so important to take a few deep cleansing breaths. And I always start every session of mine with those 3 deep cleansing breaths where people inhale peaceful energy and then exhale out their to-do list or whatever's bothering them. And that in of itself is huge. It just helps people get in a nice space. So this is the biggest thing. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. You know, I noticed this, my own coach pointed it out. She's like, you're holding your breath when you're in fear mode, or she'd say something that would freak me out, and she could literally see me hold my breath. And we do that. We actually go inward and just constrict, and that breathing will help flow that energy back out again. So those are great tips. You mentioned the word chakra, and I have to talk about it because I know these people are like, what is she talking about? I don't know what a chakra is. Is that something you put on a shelf? Is it pretty and cute? Help me understand. So yeah. In your own short version, because I know Dawn, you know, actually teaches this stuff, which is so, you know, to be aware of how you can work with Dawn, is to also know that she's going to teach chakras. She teaches new moon stuff. She does all kinds of yummy stuff. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But so go a little deeper with the chakra stuff.
There are these energetic points within our body. And so there's 7 within our body. Or actually the 7th is right above our head. But they're energetic points, and they correlate. It's so fun to work with them because each chakra correlates to a specific area of our lives. So I'll just use one example. The throat chakra. It's how we express ourselves to the world. So if we start to get a sore throat, sometimes we're not speaking our truth. It sounds funny, but that's what it is. So each chakra correlates to something, and it's fun to work with because when I'm clearing energy, if one chakra is blocked, it can kind of create an imbalance throughout the rest of the body and through the rest of our energy and emotions. So it's really important. They're just points to work with. I would say that that's the easiest explanation.
It's true, and they're all in alignment, of course, throughout your body, and it's, believe it or not, these are these energy points. And I, of course, work with the most is the throat chakra as well with the clients I work with, and getting your voice out there. So important in business to just shine your light, and that's where it starts. So many women feel suppressed in that area of their business and life. You don't feel heard. It's because they're not speaking up. Speak up, shine out. All right, so we're going to ask, first and foremost, if you guys feel you want a session with Dawn or want to explore, she will do like an exploratory first session with you and go deeper with you if you wish. But how can our audience find you, Dawn? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
my website, which is liveinyourlight.com. So it's literally spelled out, live in your light. And people can actually book right on my website. There's a little area where it pops up and they can schedule a session.
Awesome.
So that's the easiest way.
Of course, you can find her on social media as well, and in this video I'll just include a link right to her website, make it super, super easy for you to find her. Like I said, I use her. I recommend everybody I know to her. You know, it's just such an amazing experience. And one final thing that seems to come up, you know, if you're a guy listening to this, be more open, for goodness sakes. All these women are getting this healing. You're missing out. What's with that, Dawn?
Yeah, it's so funny because I have so many wives or girlfriends come to see me and they're like, shh, I didn't tell my husband I was here. I want to pay you with cash. I don't want him to see the credit card statement. I don't know. I think because it's still it's not mainstream. It's getting more mainstream, but because it's not a mainstream thing and people don't know if you're in a relationship space and you're going, oh, I'm going to go see a healer and they're going to go tell me about my life. I think that's a scary thing for some people. Like, you know, a husband might be like, well, what are they going to look at or what are they going to see? And it's never negative. It's just, you know, stuff that people are working on. So I think there's just that fear. But yeah, I think some of the men are opening up more to it.
Yes.
Which is good. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. It's not going to hurt you. It's okay. It's actually healing, you know. Men are stuck too. It's not just women.
Yeah, and it's good for the wives too that go home. And there's actually the husbands, even though some of them don't know that their wives are going to do this work. I've heard back from my clients that the husbands were like, "What's happened? I've seen a shift in our relationship, or you're more open, or things are better between us," and it's because they're doing this work. So it's a good thing.
Yep. Yeah, even if the other party doesn't go, it does shift and help because at least one of them's getting some work done. It does make a difference. So you can find Dawn on liveinyourlight.com, and there's a link, of course, included in the video to make it really simple and easy for you to find her. She's just a beautiful soul. I highly recommend getting a session with her. I mean, you deserve that. There's, I'm sure, some place in your life that needs clearing. So Dawn, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
For being a part of our show today and inspiring other women to leave corporate America possibly and explore their purpose. And for others, of course, to even know something like this exists is powerful by itself. I mean, a lot of people know they're looking for outside answers outside of themselves, and they didn't know someone like Dawn existed, and now they know. So this is awesome. So thank you so much, Dawn. Love you to pieces. Mwah.
Love you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye, hon.
Bye.